Welcome to Meaningfulness, Engineering Purpose in a Complex World podcast series. I'm Djeff B., Principal Architect at Meaningfulness Media Group, where we build rigorous frameworks to uncover objective meaning through authentic connection, ethical systems thinking, and responsible stewardship in an age of AI and informational chaos. If you're seeking evidence-based insights on philosophy, psychology, and human flourishing, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
All right, welcome. Today, we're going to embark on a pretty cool journey, one that's all about understanding what it really takes to build a purposeful life. And our guide for this? It's a simple, but honestly, a really profound idea that the true richness of our lives is found in the connections we build with other people. So let's just start with a fundamental question. So let's just get right to it. The big one. What is it that actually makes a life feel meaningful? Is it success? Is it happiness? Well, our source material for this suggests it's something a little deeper, something that connects all of us. And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? The core idea here is that we don't find meaning when we're all alone. Nope. Instead, it's woven from the very fabric of our relationships. And that is going to be our central theme for this whole explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine this. Picture yourself as the captain of a ship, and you're navigating the huge, vast ocean of life. Sometimes the seas are calm, other times they are definitely stormy. But the real point of this voyage isn't just about reaching some destination. It's about the other captains you meet and the bonds you form along the way.
So, to navigate this ocean well, the very first thing we need to do is adjust our compass. And what that means is making a fundamental shift in how we see things, moving from a life that's all about me to a life that's centered on we.
Now, what's so interesting here with the contrast? A me-centric view is, it's narrow. It's kind of like having tunnel vision. It sees our own challenges and our own happiness as totally separate from everyone else's. But a we-centric view, that recognizes that our actions create ripples, affecting a whole network of people. It's really all about broadening our horizon.
And the engine that powers this entire shift is compassion. Our source defines it perfectly here. It's not just a fuzzy feeling of sympathy. It's an active, a commitment. It's like a promise to yourself to really try and understand what other people are going through, and to help if you can.
So here's the really crucial point. This is not a one-way street. Deep connections make your life feel way more meaningful, and living a meaningful life helps you build even deeper connections. They feed into each other, creating this powerful, symbiotic loop.
Okay, now that we've set our compass, let's take a look at the map. Our journey forward is marked by 4 key milestones. These are actionable steps we can all take to build these connections and find that meaning we're talking about.
Our first stop is empathy. And this is the absolute cornerstone of every single meaningful relationship. You can think of it like a bridge. It connects our own little isolated island of experience to someone else's, letting us walk over into their world and see things from their perspective for a minute.
The source breaks empathy down into these 3 pillars. First, there's cognitive understanding. That's the intellectual part, just getting what they're going through. Second is emotional resonance. That's actually feeling it with them. And third, and this is key, is compassionate action, turning that feeling into actually doing something helpful.
All right, let's move on to our second milestone. Every single choice we make, big or small, is like tossing a stone into a pond. It creates ripples that spread out far beyond just us. Recognizing that wider impact of our actions is absolutely essential.
So how do we do that? Well, it boils down to 3 key actions. First, take a second to reflect on the consequences for other people before you act. Second, try to seek input from people who are going to be affected by your choices. And third, just be mindful. Pause and ask yourself if your actions are lining up with the kind of connected, purposeful life you actually want to build.
Next up, living a life that's guided by clear objectives. Sailing without a compass, you're just drifting, right? It's the same in life. Living without a purpose can make our actions feel random and chaotic. But when we have clear objectives, our actions gain meaning, and we naturally start to attract like-minded people into our orbit. This slide gives us a fantastic blueprint. You start by identifying your non-negotiable core values, things like integrity or kindness or compassion. Then you set realistic, achievable goals that are based on those values.
And finally, and this is important, remember that life changes, so you have to review and adjust your objectives regularly to make sure they still fit who you are becoming. And this brings us to our final, and maybe the most beautiful, milestone of all. We so often think of success as this solo victory lap, but its true power, its real magic, is unlocked when it's shared. The joy you get from a collective achievement is so much bigger than any individual one.
And to get more of this in our lives, we can do 3 things. First, actively celebrate the achievements of other people. Second, collaborate on projects where the victory belongs to the whole group. And third, share your wisdom and experiences. Because when you help someone else succeed, their success becomes a part of your story, too.
I absolutely love this quote. It just perfectly captures the whole idea. Our individual achievements, they're like single threads. But our shared successes, those are the vibrant, beautiful patterns that make the whole tapestry of life truly magnificent. So as we start to wrap this up, it's so important to understand that this journey, it isn't a straight line. It doesn't have a final destination. It's actually a continuous, infinite loop.
See, each milestone we hit, each connection we deepen, it circles right back to enrich our lives. Nurturing empathy helps us make better choices, which then helps clarify our objectives, which leads to more shared successes, which, in turn, deepens our empathy all over again. It's this beautiful, self-reinforcing cycle.
And this right here is the ultimate takeaway. So often, we think of our relationships as something extra, a side quest to the main story of our own individual lives. But what if building those connections is the main story? What if that is the journey itself? So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Based on everything we've just explored, what is one small, concrete action you can take today to strengthen a bond with someone in your life? Because that journey of 1,000 miles, it really does begin with just one small step. Thanks for joining me.
That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If these ideas resonate, continue your journey toward objective meaning and authentic connection at meaningfulness.com.au, where you'll find materials and resources to engineer purpose in your life. Until next time, let's build something meaningful.